Hello, this is James Arthur Ray, the author of the New York Times bestseller Harmonic Wealth, as well as my latest book, Life Unleashed. Have you read it? How to live life on your own terms, harness your unique genius, and have maximum impact in the world. Let's talk today about what psychologists call coping skills. And I'm going to submit to you that your quality of life, your fulfillment, your engagement, your enthusiasm, your energy, yes, your energy, your inspiration, are all contingent upon which type of coping skills you choose to employ in your life. Now, obviously, coping implies that we're dealing with challenges. We're dealing with difficult situations. Now, let's just face it. Life can be tough, and no one and nothing hits harder than life. And so, regardless of how far you run and how fast you run, challenges and difficulties and adversities are going to catch up. In fact, you set them up for yourself the minute you choose to create some type of life or some type of outcome. Are you with me? And so, how are you going to cope with the challenges and the difficulties that life throws your way? There's only two ways. There's what psychologists call transformational coping, and there's what they call regressive coping. So once again, transformational coping or regressive coping. Let's talk about each. Regressive or regression means to move backwards, right? It means to be less than you currently were. And so when you practice regressive coping, it probably stands to reason instantaneously, just by the term, that it's not going to be productive. What happens with someone who practices regressive coping? Well, they, when faced with challenges, difficulties, austerities in life, they reach for the bottle. Whereas the person with transformational coping reaches for a book. Regressive coping turns on the television. You know, the average individual in this world, according to research, watches television 5 hours a day. Why? Because they're attempting to escape reality. They're watching someone else's reality, hoping that it'll be worse than their reality, unconsciously, right? And it'll make them feel better about themselves, or maybe entertain them to some degree. But you see, research proves that television does not help us escape. In fact, research proves, psychological research, mounds of it, that you feel the most sad, depressed, and disempowered when you're watching television. And that's a primary aspect of regressive coping. What are some other regressive coping mechanisms? Well, drugs, sex addictions, anything we do to run from or deny our own pain. Now, the fact is we all have pain. The fact is we all have challenges. And so what would have to happen for you, instead of turning on the television to grab a good book? What would have to happen instead of reaching for the bottle, you watch a transformational video, or you learn something that helps you transform and grow when you're in a time of challenge? Now, I'll guarantee you that you won't always feel like it. But you see, when you do the things that you feel like doing, it creates more of the feelings that you don't want in most cases. Did you follow that? What has to happen, instead of searching through Facebook and scrolling through your feed, you decide to read. You decide to go exercise, go to the gym. That will transform you instantaneously. That will make you feel more awake and alive instantaneously. Transformative coping goes to the gym. Regressive coping searches Facebook. Now, I'm not anti-Facebook, but again, there's psychological research that proves that Facebook doesn't make you feel more connected. In fact, it makes you feel more depressed. Why? Because everybody is posting, oh, I've made millions of dollars, and I've got a beautiful family, and I've got a perfect vacation, and I've got a perfect life. Well, life is not like that. Not really. And so we tend to view that and compare ourselves, and then we feel depressed because we're not living up to these perfect posts that everybody is putting out for the world. Transformational coping, regressive coping. I will say to you again, choose transformational coping. It will determine your joy, your fulfillment, your engagement, your inspiration, your energy. And it may not feel in the moment like what you really want to do. It's much easier to reach for a bottle than for a book. It's much easier to go through Facebook than to get up and go to the gym. It's much easier, short term, to watch television versus do yoga. Connect with your mate. But you see, the things that you choose in the transformational arena as a coping mechanism may be difficult in the near term, but in the long term, they provide tremendous outcomes. And it's like a snowball effect. It just keeps growing and growing and growing, and before you know it, your entire life is transformed. I hope I've given you some things to think about. Until we speak again, hopefully I'll see you at Life Unleashed Live. You'll be glad when you get there. Stay awake, love life, and be epic.